Hi, I'm Cheryl Anderson. I'm here on the SIR Worldwide YouTube network, and today we're talking about sexual harassment and people in power who are taking advantage of their power. I do stand-up comedy, so I guess I was an engineer before that, so I guess I've always been in male-dominated industries. So I've experienced harassment, I guess, not really blatant, but maybe kind of behind the scenes, like where people would assume that I got, especially in engineering, that I got the position I was in because of like affirmative action or something like that. But I majored in math and computer science. I had a double major, and so I was qualified to do the work that I did. And I think because I had a really strong mother who always told me not to put up with anything and to fight back and not let anybody steal your thunder. So even though it was hard to do a lot of times, it's hard, I think, especially as a young woman, to say that's not right and to tell somebody to stop a behavior that's inappropriate. That it's kind of it was always in the back of my mind, like don't let that happen. You stand up for yourself. And like I knew it was right, and when something wrong was happening, I would know. And so as hard as it might be, especially because I'm kind of an introverted person, so as hard as it might have been to stand up for myself, I would always hear my mom's voice telling me not to put up with that garbage. So I think that helped me in my career. And so as I was an engineer, and now I'm a stand-up comic, which is also very male-dominated. And I think too, instead of focusing on what's wrong and what it's stopping me, say harassment or people in power taking advantage of their position or trying to minimize the role of women, especially in comedy, that instead of focusing on what that's not allowing me to do, to focus on what I can do to make a difference, where I could do my own shows, I can make opportunities for other women, and to look at what I can do in a positive way instead of on the negative side of it. So not to let those attitudes hold me back, but to keep moving along. And if I hit a wall, kind of like a Roomba, if I hit a wall, I'm just going to back up and go another direction and speak out again. Not like you're letting them get away with it. Like, speak out against it still. But okay, if this isn't going to work, I'm going to look for another way to make this work for me.
So I have a question, Cheryl. You as a mom, have you had your daughter or any young women tell you any kind of story where they had pressure from any males?
Yeah, not really specific things. I have two daughters who are adults now and working in, my oldest daughter works in entertainment, and my youngest daughter is an engineer also. So the school that my youngest daughter went to, because she also majored in math and computer science, is very proactive about getting women into technology. So because I asked her all the time if she had any trouble with the tech bro that's like Silicon Valley, and a lot of people talk about that, and she really didn't have any issues with that. And the girls both went to an all-girl high school, so they had a lot of opportunities to be in leadership positions in their schools and didn't really have to deal with anybody telling them you can't do that because you're a girl. It was like, well, you have to do that. That's what the girls do, everything here. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to be the leaders. And they went into the world with the attitude that we're going to be leaders, I think. So and I tried to give them that same kind of, I don't know if I was as successful as my mom was to tell how she told me that, to be strong and stand up for yourself, but I tried to give them that same lesson.
I like your message about being strong and standing up, because the educational part of what is going on here now should start at home. It should start at home. A lot of these young women who have been abused, whether it's the casting couch or just groped or whatever, they didn't know how to handle that. A big total surprise came upon them, And before you know it, they were involved and not being involved. Like a friend of mine had to quit a job last week because the guy kept coming on, and he wouldn't stop. And he has a wife and children, but he wouldn't stop. So she quit. And that's sad.
Yeah, it is. She shouldn't be the one that has to quit. It should be the guy that's...
Exactly.
But, and you know, and it's not like victim shaming either. It's because it's hard, and you're taken by surprise. I've had situations where I was taken by surprise, and you know, and you just kind of like, you laugh it off because you feel like, oh, this might not be a safe situation to have conflict. So I'll just laugh it off and get out of it however I can. You know, but so it's hard. There's a lot of creepy people out there, men and women.
Yeah.
After shows, I've seen women being really aggressive with other male comics, and they've had to be the same because it's the audience and they're fans, you know. So you don't want to be a jerk. It's a hard relationship because people are on stage joking about things, and then the audience thinks, oh, you joke about that, it's okay to do that in real life now. You know, and sometimes they cross the line.
Yeah, I had another friend, she got off a bus and was being pursued by this guy. And as she turned the corner, walking faster, he did the same thing. And she was frightened. Then she remembered what her father had taught her, which was a form of martial arts like Steven Seagal's called Aikido. And she slowed down, let him catch up, and she beat the crap out of this guy.
Wow.
She just remembered to put the computer to work, and that's what happened. Now, every woman doesn't have that.
Right.
You know, but sometimes these guys need that.
Well, and you don't know, somebody might have a weapon or something too, you know, you don't know.
True. Well, I want to thank you for giving your opinion on this. Can you tell these guys to subscribe to Sir Worldwide? They need to hear it.
Subscribe to Sir Worldwide.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Great job, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Thank you.